Hello and welcome to Deeper, a podcast where we have conversations with fascinating people who have lived unique lives and a companion piece to our YouTube series, Deep. We want to give you a deeper window into the experiences of our guests, and if you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing as there'll be a new one every week. My name is Ben and today I'm here joined by Ofill. Ofill, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me.
We've been looking forward to having you on for a while. For anyone who doesn't know you, could you just give us a brief summary of who you are and what you're known for?
My name's Ofill Allen. I'm 40 years old and I'm currently known for a murder I committed in 2003. I did 17 and a half years in prison. I've done podcasts, some TV stuff. And I'm a musician as well. I've been free for nearly 4 years now. And happy to be out here and getting on with my life in a positive way.
So Ofill, obviously we're going to talk today about like the wide variety of your life, but it's going to focus on one central point that changed your life. But before we get there, can you just let me know a little bit about you as a young person? Who were you growing up?
It was, it was a bit up and down, really. I grew up with just my mum, my older sister, my younger sister, no father around. My mum was on benefits, so it was hard for us growing up. I could say sometimes we was in a bit of poverty and that. And then my mum had a job, she had 2 jobs sometimes, but we never really had the best of stuff, you know what I mean? But we got by. I had a troublesome school history growing up, in and out of different schools, being excluded or suspended. I was in and out of foster care, children's homes. But I was all right. I was happy at certain times, and certain times I was angry, not having no dad around, being the only boy in my family as well. And only sometimes I saw my cousins. We're kind of secluded, our family, from everybody else sometimes, so it was a bit up and down. And at times it was hard and at times it was all right. Some good memories and some shit memories. Yeah.
So in a way, not too different to the sort of childhoods that a lot of people would experience.
Yeah, that's right. Not too different from a lot of people. Could have been much worse, and other people have had much worse bringings than myself, but yeah.
Were you someone that got in trouble much as a young teen and times like that? What we're going to talk about, the event we're going to talk about, do you think that people would have expected that from you as who you were growing up, or is it something that was quite out of character?
I don't think I was somebody that people think this man's, at that age, or that young boy at that age is going to be somebody who's going to go to jail for murder. I had fights with people, school fights, I wasn't in a gang or nothing like that. I had friends, maybe used to get in trouble and stuff like that, and maybe they were associated in gangs and stuff like that. But me as an individual, I would say I was more of a defender to my friends and my family, and I think those are the type of things that used to get me into trouble, and did. Even when I was in secondary school, a boy threatened to slap my little sister. She was only year 7 and he was in my year. I was at year 11 at the time. So I approached him and it went off, and me and him ended up rolling around. And
it's interesting because it's like a foreshadowing of what was to come.
Yeah.
So what is that? Is that like a sense of justice that you had, or was that you dislike bullies, or was it that,
I dislike bullies. Absolutely hate them. Can't stand them. Obviously, I don't go out of my way to go and approach them and challenge them like some, bully hero, like, just if it comes my way, I'll deal with it, if you're troubling one of my people, then I'm going to deal with it. I'm not going to stand for it, No, man, you can't be picking on people that are weaker than you because you're insecure, or, you're picking and choosing, or you're picking on that. Get out of it.
Where does that come from? Is that through experiences that you've had, or is that just part of who you've been born as?
I think that's just how I grew up, with no dad around. Always looking out for my mum and my older sister, my younger sister, man of the family, My mum tells people the story of like when stupid people used to knock the door and I was about 4 or 5. I used to just come around the side of her leg and go, leave my mummy alone. You know what I mean? Like, go away and stuff like that. So from young, probably it was just in me, innit? In my DNA, probably from my dad or one of my ancestors to just, you know what I mean? Yeah, be that guy who's, you know what I mean, doing the right thing at the right time, defending.
Were you the oldest kid in the house?
No, I had an older sister.
Right.
I've got an older sister, sorry.
Yeah, the oldest boy.
I'm the oldest boy, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So do you think there was part of it there, that sense of it?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. My mum always used to say, look, when you lot go outside and play out, look after each other. You know what I mean? But obviously my older sister took that stance as well at the time to protect me, you know what I mean? But obviously I knew I'm a boy, innit? Like, and you're my sister, so, you know what I mean? I'm gonna do my part, you know what I mean? Even though you're my older sister, I'm still gonna defend it first, you know what I mean? As the male.
So it's kind of like, it's a portrait of a young person who isn't outstanding in terms of like, it's not someone who people are going to be looking at and going, oh, this is trouble in the future. It's someone who's living a sort of like a normalish life growing up. So now let's move on to the point that was a turning point in your life. You know, how old were you when this whole thing happened?
19.
19. So still fairly young, still a teen.
Yeah.
And let's get into it. What happened?
So, at that age, I had a best friend at the time. He had a girlfriend. She told him that she was raped by somebody. And she told him the whole story. He relayed the whole story to me. I didn't see my friend at the time when he told me before that for about 2 weeks. And then like when he told me, I was like, wow, it was a lot to take in. He was crying when he told me as well. So that was a lot for me. I was like, what? Like, and I said to him, what do you want to do about this situation? And come up with a plan to approach him. And we approached this man. Violence happened. And he lost his life. And that was it. Like my life was gone. Everyone's life just changed. That was involved in that. That night was a night that changed my life. A crazy night. I don't know, like sometimes I think to myself, why this, why that, why this? And there's no answers, you know. But I know what happened did happen, and then things that happened after that I had question marks about were answered. For instance, the girlfriend I was with at the time, when she saw the man's face on a poster, Crime Stoppers poster, saying, do you know this man? Because he was known by various aliases. She was like, I know that guy. He tried to rape me in a toilet a year before I met you. And I was like, okay, that's one of the question marks answered. Thank you for that. My soul is a bit easier now. Can rest a bit easier now. You know what I mean? Like, I was thinking, fucking hell, like, have I really done something, you know what I mean? Too far to the wrong person? Because I had rationale about it as well. I was like, okay, it could have been a bit booky, what she was saying. By booky, I mean, there could have been some underlying lie there somewhere. That's, you know what I mean? Something snaky about it, you know? But that being answered, like I say, by my girlfriend at the time, was like, oh, wow.
So it was like, when you say the questions were answered, it was, you know, who was the guy? You know,
yeah, what was his character?
Yeah.
Was he really that guy? And then in the court, his younger brother gave character testimony about him, who he was, to the court. And he said, my older brother liked women a lot. He had a lot of women. And he used to like a lot of young girls as well. And I used to tell him to stop that. And obviously the barrister, my barrister, or whoever's barrister, was cross-examining him, saying, what do you mean by that? Break it down. What do you mean, young girls? And telling him to, he said, oh, well, I used to go to fun fairs and stuff and try and pick up these young girls, and he had all these baby mothers, and I used to tell him to stop, but it might get you into trouble. And I was like, wow. Another question mark answered. That's from his own flesh and blood, telling the Old Bailey, this man is a predator, basically. Going to fun fairs to pick up young girls.
Okay, so I'd like to come back to the trial, but first I'd like to jump back a little bit. and just go back into the detail of it a little more. So your friend came to you and he told you what had happened. He told you his girlfriend had been raped. Did you know his girlfriend at the time?
Yeah.
You did. So you knew them both. So that was, I guess that explains why it affected you, because you had what was the plan that you made with your friend? Was the plan initially to kill him, or was the plan to punish him?
The plan was to approach him and say, stay away from her. And if it got a bit rough, it's going to get a bit rough. Maybe you might get, a few knocks in his leg or something like that. You might leave with a sore leg or a sore knee or something like that. A few bumps and bruises, but never, take this man's life. We're going to, blatantly just on the high road, kill the man or attempt to take his life. And come on, he died 6 days later or something like that. So,
So how did you get him to come and meet you? How did it all go down?
So basically, what T said, she said, look, to this guy on the phone, look, me and my boyfriend ain't talking right now. Do you want to come and meet me again? And we can have a chat and blah, blah, blah. And he jumped to the opportunity straight away. And it was like, okay, I'm coming. But in that conversation as well, my friend, he wanted confirmation that he done something wrong because he had suspicion. Maybe T was talking some shit. So he said to her, look, ask him, why did you do that to me last time when I was with you and you didn't stop and didn't get off of me, blah, blah, blah. And she asked him that. And at that moment, the room was silent when she asked him, and we're all next to the phone trying to listen. And he just mumbled something. So we understood everything else she was saying clearly, yeah? She was speaking clear English. In the same English, she's asked him that and he hasn't responded. He just mumbled something. Like, what is that? That's not what you're talking about. We are talking about stop and get off you, whine I did. What are you talking about? You're a grown-ass man. This young girl is saying to you, why didn't you stop last time when I told you to stop? Why didn't you get off? Why didn't you stop? Why did you do that? And you're just mumbling. But then in the next second, you're happy to say, okay, yeah, I'm coming to meet you later.
So for you, was that confirmation that he was accepting he had done what she was saying?
Yeah, but he was still confident enough to think he's coming to probably get some more. You know what I mean? That's how in control he must have thought he was and how dominant he was over her. You know what I mean? That he must have thought he had that psychological mad advantage that, you know what I mean? That whatever it is he had over her, he probably had it over some other women previously and he's probably thinking, oh yeah, it's working again. I violated them and they still want more, or, you know what I mean? I can still do it again.
And did you know who he was? Had you heard of him?
No, never before, but he explained himself to T as some bad man. Mm-hmm. It's probably bravado though, lies, isn't it? Putting on a persona just to, you know?
And was there any sense of fear there in terms of if he was someone that was dangerous?
Of course, I'm a realistic man. I was like, okay, it could be, it couldn't be. So A's plan to, okay, take 2 bats. Yeah, okay, cool. At least we've got something to protect ourselves if he is this guy and he pulls up with something mad on him because he's a madman, a bad man. Bad man do bad things, carry bad things. So, need my something to, you know, protect myself or get myself out of a situation. You know what I mean? That's the realism of it. It's a real life out there. It's the roads, isn't it? It's not a joke. It's not a film. There's no script. It's real.
So the plan was that she would, T, did you say? T would arrange to meet him, but when he arrived, you'd both be there and you were armed with bats, is that correct?
Yeah, he was waiting in a phone box for him.
And how did it happen then? So he arrived and did he see you or did he expect?
No, he didn't see us. But when we come out the phone box, as she's greeting him and he's come out the car, say hi, whatever, blah, 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 open the door for her, he see us coming. He's turned around and see us coming and then he grabbed T. And then at that point, that was it. wow, what's he doing? We've got to get, like, nah. Get off of her. I've got a bat in my hand. I've got to swing that. I'm doing what I'm doing. It's activation mode. It's just instinct, innit?
So he was using her as a human shield.
Yeah. So that as well, it's all rushing through your brain at a billion miles an hour. Like, why is he doing that for? Get up. And then after, I was like, okay, he knew he done something wrong, because why would you do that? You come to pick up a girl and you see two men come out a phone box with backs. How do you know we're coming for you?
Was he an intimidating figure? Was he a big guy? Or
Yeah, it was a bit of a lump still.
Yeah.
Yeah, he weren't no little skinny fish or no chips, mate. He was a lump. You know what I mean? So, as well, that was like, shit. You have to knock this lump a few times. You know what I mean? He's got to loosen up. He's a lump. He's not going to just let her go by grabbing him with hands. It's a good job man's got something to just apply a bit more pressure, because this is mad.
So it started happening quickly. So he grabbed her. You said you went into activation mode. You wanted to get her released. You wanted to, he was a big guy, so you're trying to, you say, loosen him up. What happened? Did it go too far, or was it more that he fought back in a way you didn't expect?
Yeah, that's what it was. When he released T, he's trying to take the bat off me now. He's trying to do some type of whatever he's doing to take the bat off of me, you know? What anyone would do, innit? Your natural thing is to try and probably grab the bat off of me and try and disarm me, because he's a lump, innit? He's trying to do his thing. Yeah, well, I'm like, well, no. I can't be letting you take this off of me at this point of what's going on. So I just keep swinging it. I'm no bat specialist, you know what I mean? But I'm just swinging the bat until he dropped on one knee, and then I've run across the road. Obviously shouted at, hey, yo, let's go. And then that was it.
And at that point in time, did you think he was going to, like, how was your view of what had happened? How serious was it? Like, were you thinking, I think we've just killed someone? Or were you
Nah, I thought he just took some hits. He dropped to his knee and now he's pissed. He's seriously pissed. He's hurt. He's pissed. I'm not thinking nothing like hospital or dying. No way.
So were you even thinking about, like, the law, or were you more just thinking, let's get out of here, assess it?
Let's just get out of here.
Okay. So how did you realise that it had gone further than what you expected?
Because of the white tent that went up in the street. Yeah. And they taped off the road. And now this is looking like a serious crime scene off of a movie. And I'm watching it all from my flat window. I'm watching the whole thing develop throughout the whole night. It's across the road from my house, literally. So the next day I got to come out and face it. Every day I'm coming out to face it. And then obviously the police come to do door to door at my house. Fucking hell. It's literally shitting on my doorstep, innit? Like, literally.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you chose to do it so close to you.
Because that's the young naivety and stupidness of, you know what I mean? The situation. It's supposed to be something simple. Oh, we're just going to go scare him off. But no, it's different now.
So how are you feeling at this point? You know, you're still a young guy. You're 19, right? So were you thinking, a lot must have been going through your head. You know, were you thinking you should run away? Were you thinking you could just hide?
All types. I was thinking, where can I go and escape to? And, you know, like, never come back. Brazil, America. Where is it? Where's these countries that you can disappear to? Spain. Well, hold on a minute. Have I got the money to go there? Do I know anybody there? How am I doing that? That's all bullshit. The reality is, man ain't going nowhere. I'm right here. No one's reaching out to help me like that. A ain't coming up with nothing like that. We're just literally getting on with it.
And what was the conversation like between you and A? Had either of you told anyone else, or were you just going like, you know, we've got to keep this between us?
There was a few people who knew. Yeah, a few people who knew. And yeah, I think they were bricking it as much as we were, like when the Crime Stoppers posters started going up and the door to door. Yeah.
So how did they eventually track it to you?
That night, there was a local man that wanted to use the phone box. And I wouldn't let him use it. I said, use the one next door. It was double phone boxes. He said, nah, that one's only card. This one takes coins. I need to make an important phone call. I said, nah, go away, move out, get out of here. I dismissed him, you know what I mean, properly. Like, and he wasn't having it. I was like, what? You know what I mean? So I've had to...
Important phone call.
Like, I've had to get a bit extra aggressive on him, like, and say, listen, you're not using this, like, seriously. And he was like, all right. And he's the same man who went to the police when he saw the Crime Stoppers board, and he said, I've seen them guys. I keep seeing them. I'm coming at my house every day. He lives around the corner. And the police never had no other leads. So they thought, all right, let's listen to this guy. And he was a local, like, drug addict. So maybe that's why they didn't take him seriously at first, because they probably thought he was just after the cash reward. But you know what? Fuck it. Ain't got nothing else to go on. Let's see where it goes. And for them, it bingoed.
Wow.
They started the surveillance. They see, okay, the descriptions that the 14 witnesses said about the tall one, the short one. I was coming out of my house with my girlfriend. So there's a girl there now. But then A's coming out of his house with his girlfriend. And she's a bit taller. So they're like, okay, there's 2 girls, 2 guys. We need a bit more. They've gone to a friend of ours, an old friend of ours, his house, because when they come to do door to door, I said, listen, I was up the road at my friend's house. So now they're going, all right, let's go and check your alibi now, because we're already, I think it's you and your mate, but let's go and see what else we can get. And when they've gone up the road to check my alibi with this guy, he's just spilled the beans.
Oh, wow.
Devastated.
Is that because you hadn't prepped him on it, or just because he's
just a fucking snake.
Wow.
It's a fucking snitch, innit? Like a proper dirty rat. Like, you know what I mean? Like just one of them, innit?
Wow.
Real life rat. Yeah, but...
Is that because he was scared of his being involved, do you think, and then taking some sort of...
You know what? To be honest, I'm going to say this honestly, yeah. I can say he shouldn't have never ratted because we were friends, we went to school and all that. And you know what I mean? We used to get up to 1 and 2 things in the area, you know what I mean? To make a little quick money or blah, blah. You know what I'm trying to say? Well, we're in the ends. It's real out here, you know what I mean? We're not doing nothing mad. We're not no mad bank robbers. We're not no big time fucking criminals, you know what I mean? But we're making a little bit money here and there, you know what I mean? Whatever fucking everyone does, makes a little money here and there, you know what I mean? But they said to him, if you don't tell us what we think you should be telling us, you and your mum will be going back to Brazil.
Wow.
They threatened their stay.
And his mum?
His mum applied the pressure and said, you better tell them everything, boy, or else. Okay, mummy, he said. And he put some extras on top that didn't even exist, just to make sure he can get the witness protection and the move.
Is that what happened?
Of course, naturally. Witness protection, move out the area. It's a murder case.
Wow. So he gets, so just disappears? Like full anonymous witness protection?
Something like that, yeah.
Wow, wow. Well, it's interesting. How do you feel about that? Because when you're talking about it then, obviously saying that he's a rat and, you know, you can see that side of it because he ultimately is the reason that you probably went to prison. He's probably the reason you went to prison. But the flip of it, if they'd threatened his mum and him and their ability to stay in the country, like how does that balance out in your head? Which side do you land on it?
That's the thing. I kind of did land. I was like, the whole thing's a fucking shitstorm. So you know what? Whatever, man. Just wash it out of my head, man. Fuck it.
Do you have feelings of bitterness about him still, or is that sort of gone now?
Nah, it's gone, man. It's gone, man. It's gone. I don't done what he done it. That was his choice in life, his path that he had to lead in his life. That's his life story, innit? Like, everyone's got their life story, innit? And their moments when they do things in life. That's part of his thing, what he's doing. You know what I mean? I did my crime to be responsible for it. You know what I mean? And do my time. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You have to accept that as a man as well. To be like, all right, I can't really put it on him like, oh, because of you. I done the actions. You know what I mean? And I had to do my punishment and my sentence for it. You know what I mean? So I can't say, oh, yeah. It's him that, vengeance and all them things towards him. Nah, man. I fucked up, innit?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He was just part of the fucking story that, you know what I mean? Helped them put me away. But,
Understood. So they had spoken to him. Then from there, did they just come and arrest you immediately? How does it work?
No, they do more surveillance. I don't know. And then they get the go-ahead from their superintendent or whoever's in charge at CPS and simultaneously come and kick off doors and then present the first disclosure with what they have. We're advised to make no comment, you know what I mean, until they give more disclosure. And then they give more disclosure. And then, you know what I mean, the CPS is already saying they're in a position to, you know what I mean, go fully to trial. Then they've got to give a bit more, you know? Yeah. And that's it. They've got to convince the judge, obviously, that we should be remanded.
How are you feeling through this? Is it all just going past in a blur? Or are you kind of thinking, this is it, my life's over? Or are you at this point thinking, you know, it is what it is, I've just got to deal with it? Like, where's your head at as a 19-year-old going through this? Because presumably it's a pretty big, I mean, it's probably one of the biggest sort of sentences you can get, right? Murder.
Yeah.
And was it manslaughter or murder?
Murder. I tried to get manslaughter, but it didn't happen.
So where's your head at as a young man going through this?
I don't know. I'm just thinking, I need to obviously bust case in it. I want to go with it. But I'm being realistic about it. The amount of evidence they got and stuff. They managed to get DNA on stuff. And I was like, she's not looking good. You know, so I just had to prepare myself mentally for going to jail and coming out in like 20 years, 30 years time or something like that. You know what I mean? I thought, right, they could even give man 50 years, 60 years. It's a life sentence, innit? What's it going to be? You know what I mean? Like, there's no limit on a life sentence. It's 99 years, innit? But you get a tariff out of it. So then when I understood what a tariff meant, I'm just thinking, all right, I hope I get a decent tariff, something that would resemble a manslaughter.
Can you explain tariff to us? What does that mean?
So a tariff is what you have to serve out of your 99-year life sentence. So the life sentence is set, but out of that, you'll set a tariff the minimum term you must serve before you're eligible for parole.
And did you plead guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Not guilty. And then how, you just said then that you tried to change it to manslaughter. So how did that?
So I said not guilty to murder, but guilty to manslaughter. So I'm basically saying, look, I'll put my hands up to it. Yeah, I did it. But I didn't intend to do it. And it wasn't a murder. It was a death that happened later on, you know, due to whatever medical reasons.
Yes, because you said earlier that he died 6 days later, was it?
Yeah, he developed a brain hemorrhage, and then they stopped it, and then I think days later another one happened, and they couldn't stop that one, and then cardiac arrest happened off of that. So he didn't exactly like die immediately on the spot on the same day. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I hope the jury can understand, the judge can understand that. You know what I mean? This is a manslaughter, isn't it? Like, but it gets technical because they say if you go out with the intention to hurt somebody and them injuries cause the man or whoever's murder, then that's, you know, man's death, then it's murder. But obviously then they have to prove the force that's used, the impact, you know what I mean? Did you know how much impact he was using? You know, did you hit him lightly? Was you hitting him hard? You know what I'm trying to say? So because then it gets technical again about the pathologist report. You go into the injuries and how they were caused, what type of. It's long. Mm-hmm. It's just all long.
How long did it last, the trial?
I think just under 2 weeks.
2 weeks. And what was your sentence?
11 years and 4 months. 12 years, and then they took the 8 months off that I did on remand off. So it was 11 years, 4 months. 11
years, 4 months. And did you and your friend both get the same sentence?
No, I got 12, he got 13.
Okay. And is that because they saw him as more of an instigator?
Lead role.
And then when you got that sentence, do you remember being in court and hearing that read out and how it felt at the time?
Yeah. It's not nice. It's shitty, man. You just standing there and you get the shivers and your heart's beating as well. You're like, fuck, everything's just scary. Big old Bailey. Victorian fucking looking judge, you know what I mean, with the wig on and that, and they're talking some language you don't even understand in there, these big words that are coming out of the Archibald and stuff like that, and you're not even allowed to speak. Like, you're told to sit there and be quiet, and obviously the barrister's telling you to sit in a certain way and don't look at the jury and stuff like that, and it's all mad. You're just sitting, me personally, I'm just sitting there bricking it all the time. And then there's certain times where it gets emotional and I'm like, I want to get up and tell them, like, what's going on. Because the trial for me was fucked up because T wasn't in our trial. She was removed from our trial because her barrister got her a deal with the CPS for conspiracy to assault. Initially, she was on murder. Then it was dropped from conspiracy to murder. Then it got dropped to that because they couldn't prove that she knew was going out with the intention to even hurt him. But they said, oh, okay, she done something, so she has to hold at least a conspiracy to assault. Now she's not part of our trial because we're on a murder trial. She's next door in another courtroom. But the jury are told the story about T saying to her boyfriend, she got raped. He comes to me, tells me the story, blah, blah, blah. We'll set it up so he comes and blah, blah, blah. We approach him. But then the jury are like, hold on a minute. They're sending notes to the judge saying, where's the girl? Are we going to hear from the girl? And the judge stops the flipping trial and then sends them out, has a discussion with all the barristers and the CPS and all that, and then sends back a note to them saying, well, members of the jury, you have to know that this girl is real. She's a real person. She did tell them a story, but you won't be hearing from her.
Right.
So you have to deal with these two on the basis of they heard a story from a girl, but on that basis, they went out and done these actions. And because of you have to judge them now on their actions.
So you weren't allowed to have her stand up and say, I told them this and this was...
That's right. So that was hard.
So you wanted to turn around to the jury and basically say, this is what we were told.
Of course. How would you feel? Like, literally, like, how would you feel if it was like your mum or your sister or anybody in your family who this happened to? You know what I mean? You'd want them to say their piece, innit? Because you're just looking at two guys and a story. Well, where's the main person? Because the other one you can't hear from. So we need to hear from the other one that was involved in it. And then so that for me was hard. I was so fucking pissed off. I was like, so it's like sometimes I couldn't help myself but look at the jury. Like, can't you see this is bullshit? But some jury members are looking at me like with a screw face, like they don't like me. And I'm like, oh shit, what are you doing? Don't look at them. Oh, but I want to kind of communicate that this is bullshit, but don't look at them. So I'm like, fucking hell, man. Like, I'm just even more anxious now.
That sounds like a nightmare scenario. The person that you committed the crime for basically can't talk about that for you. So you
Bang out of order.
Bang out of order.
Bang out of order.
Yeah.
Bang out of order. Fuckery.
So you go from there, you go to prison, you've got this sentence, which is huge. I mean, it's almost your entire life again. You had been in prison before this, had you?
Yeah, for driving, no license, no insurance.
Oh, you had? Okay. So you'd been in prison for
like about 6 weeks the longest.
6 weeks, okay. What category and like how are you treated as a murderer going into prison? Talk us through that, because we've talked to people before that have been in prison for different offences, and there's this, it seems like there's this sort of hierarchy where depending on what you've done, bank robbers always talk about being seen as high, people that have protected people seen as high, like people that have done stuff with, children stuff very, very low. What was it like getting into prison as a young man that had committed this crime? Was it frightening? Were people saying that you'd done the right thing? Were people,
That's it right
talk
there.
us through it.
That's it right there. People were saying I'd done the right thing. Even governors. I can't mention their names, obviously, for reasons, but I had governors telling me I would have taken him to the shed and done worse things to him. Just keep your head down. Do what you're told. Stick to your sentence plan, and you should be out on time. Literally, officers, governors, all the inmates. Like, I'm not a wrong 'un. I approached the wrong 'un. And I'm doing bird for a wrong 'un. So, you know what I mean? So then it's just about dealing with the normal things you would deal with outside on the road, like just typical idiots, innit? Screws, inmates, you know what I mean? You're gonna get cockroaches, rats, idiots, you know what I mean? Foolish people, you know what I mean? Who don't even know themselves, you know what I mean? And you just got to handle it, man, each day as it comes.
And how does that look, when you say you've got to deal with them? Like, what do you have to deal with? Is that like
violence, man? It's violence, man. It's fucking jail, bruv. It's fucking the land of the beast, mate. Everyone's getting gym. Everyone's angry. Everyone's a bad man. Everyone want to take somebody's stripes. Everyone want to take somebody's canteen. See if you're about this or not. Can you look the part? Let me test it out. So you're going through things. I've been chopped in my neck. I've been fucking, man tried to stab out my eye. You know what I mean? I had a fight with a man. I didn't know he had a screw thing in his hand. I've got a big scar on my side. You know what I'm saying? It's mad. Jail's crazy.
Wow.
I've been in a lot of shit. You get what I'm saying? I've had situations with officers where they've come to my door with like 20 of them. And they want me to kick off because they're waiting to rush me. I ain't been rushed by the screws yet, you're not. 17 and a half years, they couldn't rush me because I know how to deal with them. I will bug out on them. I get mad. Are you taking the piss for whatever reason? Then I'll go bang up or whatever, rare. And then I know they're coming with Mufti. They're kitting up. But when you come with Mufti, I'm calm. I'm not looking to fight you. I already expelled my energy. But to answer what you said about how they deal with man as a murderer, they're coming with Mufti every time. They're not taking no chances. Oh, Ofill Allen. Come, we got to take him to the seg. You're not coming to take me to the segregation normally with one officer, two officers. They got to kit up and come and get you. Yeah, and it's not nice neither. They just bust your door randomly. They put the key in so quietly. And they hold the lock quietly. And they're all lined up together, holding each other in a line. Like rugby players, the biggest ones are gym officers and all that. They go, bang, don't fucking move, like a raid. Get to the back of the wall, get to the back of the wall. You got to get to the back of the wall. Don't fucking move, you get me? Put your hands behind your back. And they're bending you up. And they're nervous as well. They're shaking. They're putting cuffs on you and they're trembling. You're like, the fucking cuffs, man, they're too tight, man. Why are you shaking for? Like, you lot are fucking 10 to 1 on me. Like, what are you shaking for? You know what I mean? And they're putting your head down and taking you away to the seg and all that. And obviously on the way you can kick off, innit? Enough man kick off with them, like try and resist and fight. And it just makes it worse, innit? So I'm like, listen, guys. You don't want to fight me. I don't want to fight you. Listen, you're going to take me to the seg, whatever, man. Can we just walk in it normally? You're not doing this bend up thing. Yeah, forget it. Yeah? What you saying? All right. They'll ask the main man. What you saying? Like the PO, principal officer with the 3 stripes. What you saying? He's all right he's calm. He seems all right. I'm like, yeah, all right then. Come on then, Alan. Just bop with them normally, you get me? Just have a banter with them on the way to the blocks. I understand you here to do a job. You've been told, take man to the seg. Come to the seg. I'm not here to fight you. I'm just pissed off of a situation, innit? You know what I mean? So
you would, because of the crime that had been committed, the murder, you were obviously being treated as a very dangerous person because of the crime on paper. Did you see yourself as a dangerous person at that point? And also, did it give you was there a benefit to being in prison with that? You know, like if you're in for theft, people aren't going to think of you as someone that can't be messed with. But if people know that you've murdered someone, does that give you a level of almost like safety because people know that you're capable of these kind of things?
I would say yes and no. And some jails are different. Some jails, you know what I mean? Like, people don't really care. You get me? Everyone's on the same level, innit? Everyone's just getting on with it. So, you know what I mean? It just don't matter whether you're in there for theft, you know what I mean? Robbery, drugs, you know what I mean? Or murder, you know what I mean? People don't even talk about their crimes in certain jails. Everyone's just getting on with it, you know what I mean? Everyone wants to go home. And in other jails now, people are like really up in your business. What are you in for? What happened? You know what I mean? And then once you tell what you're in for, me personally, they're like, oh, say nothing, big risk manners. Yeah, come on, I would have done the same. You know what I mean? It's always the same story. Anywhere I go, everyone says the same thing. Yeah, I made a point of not telling people. I didn't want people to, you know what I mean, respect me for that. Deal with me for who I am, firstly. You know what I mean? And then after, maybe, you know what I mean, I might tell you. But I want to see how you deal with me firstly as a person, not as a murderer. Deal with me as Ofill. And then, yeah, I might tell you my business. You get me?
Understood. And prison for you, was it, I mean, look, no one wants to be there, but was it a hard time, or did you just adapt to the life and get through it? You know, what was it like?
It's hard at times, and then at times it's just like, it's just normal. As in, you don't know nothing outside of the jail, and this is your world. So you're making the best of it. You know what I mean? Like, getting on with it, like trying to do the maximum things you can do in there, like trying to be the best at the music, trying to be the best at pool, table tennis, snooker, darts, whatever it is. And I mean, trying to be the best cook, the best at the gym, whatever sport it is, always at football, five-a-side, paddle tennis, just utilising everything. You know what I mean? And just trying to be the best at it and trying to, you get me, get the most out of it. You know what I mean? Like parcels and that come in, always trying to be involved. You know what I mean? Like, Hooch is making, I'm involved. And what? You know what I mean? I want to be involved. Everyone wants to be involved in it. You know what I mean? In something that can, you know what I mean? Distract you from the burn, innit? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's shitty. No one's going nowhere for years, but yeah, while we're here, we're going to try and have a laugh. You know what I mean?
And how long did you serve in the end?
17 and a half years.
17 and a half years. So 17 and a half years, you went in when you were 19. So basically almost your life again. You know, it must have been hard coming out in some ways because you lived your life, the length of life again.
Yeah.
Used to that system and that routine,
but
was it?
Then again, you got open conditions at the end of your sentence, DCAT.
Right.
So it readies you up for the road, innit? They're not supposed to just keep you banged up for double figures, you know what I mean, years, and then throw you out on the fucking pavement. Nah. They tried that before, it don't work. Yeah.
And you've done, like, because what occurs to me is if someone's gone in at that age and then spent almost their entire life in again, coming out, it could be hard to make something of yourself because you're basically coming out without a career. It's obviously going to be hard to get a sort of like a traditional job, but you've done well for yourself. You know, you've come out of it and obviously you've looked to do your own thing. You know, we've talked about music and that kind of thing. How did that work? Like, what was that push? What, when you were coming up to the end of your sentence, were you thinking, oh, I'm going to see if I can get a job? Were you thinking like, how did it work?
No, you know what it is with me? I've never had a waste man mentality. So I've always been proactive. I'll make something out of nothing. You know what I mean? Like I said, I will try and be the best at that or whatever it is, you know what I mean? So that's what it is with me. I know, all right, I've got a skill. I've got multiple skills. I'm a good cook. I can cut hair. I can write lyrics. I've got a good characterisms. You know what I mean? I can put on voices and imitate people off of the TV and shit like that. I'm saying, nah, man, I got to go somewhere with this. I got a good sense of humor. I can make people laugh, you know what I mean? I'm decent looking, you know what I mean? Got a few muscles, you know what I mean? I could do something, man. I can't waste all of this, you know what I mean? This is something, you know what I mean? If I don't open up a barbershop, which people were pushing me for, I was cutting everyone's hair in jail. Man will quote and tell you, that guy cut my hair. And then I realized as well, wow, people like my cooking. I used to work in the kitchens, the main kitchens, and I used to fucking steal chicken, yeah? Bring it back to the wing, cook it up for about 10, 20 man on the wing. Somebody WhatsApped me the other day and said, I remember when you cooked chicken for the whole wing, bruv. And just, you know what I mean? I didn't even know you properly. And you just, you know what I mean? Said, yo, bro, you want to come and eat? And you said, I remember you made the fried dumplings and the cake. And he said, things like that don't get forgotten. And I was like, wow, that touched me. I was like, fuck, you know, for true, man. And that in itself is a business, you know what I mean? A brand, you know what I mean? Something I can do, you know what I mean? That's me. You know what I mean? That's me, that comes from me. So that I can do that on the road. Cook up a little food, do my little character thing. Look at Levi Roots. He went in there with his little character, you know what I mean? His little bit of recipe and done his thing. I got character, I can cook food. Worst comes to worst, I can do that, but I ain't gonna be no bin man. No disrespect to bin man, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna clean no toilet, no disrespect to people that clean toilet. I could do better than that. I might have to one day. Please God, I beg you, I don't be in that situation. You know what I mean? But if I am, I guess what? I'll probably be the best at it and I'll elevate quickly and be a manager in that position probably. You know what I mean? Or have my own stuff. Like, wow.
You back yourself.
I back myself with everything I do, man. If I like it, you know what I mean? Then it's even more concrete that, I'm going to be successful in this. So I said, you know what? It's the music for me. You know, I'm good at writing lyrics. You know what I mean? And if I like it myself, I'm a critic. I'm a bad critic. I think everything, that's rubbish. But I've realized, and I've tested it out on people and stuff like that. And I said, music, food, entertainment, that's the way forward for me, man. I don't mind doing all of that. You know what I mean? And if I have to work a 9 to 5 like everybody else and stack shelves, you know what I mean, on my journey to doing that, then that's what I'll have to do.
Fair play. And how does it feel for you to come out? And like you say, you're a very charismatic person. You're amazing at speaking. You're very captivating to listen to. But the thing then people start to speak to you about at times is like us. You know, we want to hear this. We want to hear this story. And you know, you've been on Channel 4, I believe. You've been on Channel 4. How does it feel when people are contacting you, wanting to talk about potentially one of the darker periods of your life?
You know what? It's a story that needs to be told, man. You know what I mean? It's not every day you hear about a story like that, but there is stories like that going on. Because the comments I got after Lad Bible, people were saying, look, I've gone through situations like that. I'm going through a situation like that. Or, you know what I mean? That situation happened to me and the person wasn't convicted, but hearing your story, you know what I mean? It touched me in a way. You know what I mean? Thank you for sharing your story. Because, you know what I mean? I was in a similar situation and no one's heard my story, but you've shared yours with mine. So I'm going to go and share mine. I'm going to do something. And a female came to me about a year and a half ago and said, a rape happened to her. And she asked me what to do. And I was so shocked, you know? I was like, fuck, you know, what? I thought, what are you telling me for? For a second, forgive me for saying this, I thought, you trying to set me up? Because I know this girl. She's local to where I live. She's like, yeah, this guy, he raped me. I was like, she's like, what should I do, Ofill? And I was like, nah, man, you have to go and deal with it the right way. You know what I went through. Deal with it the right way, man. Don't, you get me? Put no one through no extra madness. That guy needs to be punished. Deal with it in the right way. Yeah? And she dealt with it in the right way. And I was like, fucking hell, look at that.
So your choice years before.
Yeah, because she said to me as well, I don't want to get anybody in trouble neither. And I knew what she meant by that. She don't want to tell the man them and make another, you get me, story like me, you get me? Because she seen, look, Ross, I'm a lucky one to survive the 17 years. You know what I'm saying? Enough people can't do life sentence. Enough people would, in a click, do a life sentence for their friend. You know what I mean? Or their family, when a rape happens to them. You know what I'm saying? And she done the right thing and she told, you get what I'm saying? The right people. And that person, you know what I'm saying, got punished the right way through the authorities, not, you know what I'm saying, doing the madness. And then other people as well have told me their stories and stuff. So it's a lot, man. It's touching, man. It's moving.
Well, it's interesting what you said there, because the first time we met you was when we made a piece for the Minutes with series that we used to make at Lad Bible. And then we made a compilation piece with you and some other people who had gone through the experience of killing someone.
Yeah.
Both those videos did huge numbers and had a huge amount of comments on them. And I was wondering, you know, do you go and look at those comments and read them? And when you've got this kind of like, because obviously you're known, but the exposure of a social media platform, they got millions of views. You know, that's a lot of people.
I read all the comments and I respect all of you for all your comments, yeah? So send them all in and I'll listen to you, yeah? Trust me, I needed somebody to listen to me and they listen. So I'll do the same for you guys, innit, yeah? Yeah, you can DM me, you get me privately, whatever. I'm not gonna expose nobody's business. If you want to chat to me, you can chat to me, man. I'll give you advice, you know what I'm saying? Tell you to do the right thing, or if it's just gonna help you to listen to me, you know what I'm saying? I'll help you out, man. You know what I mean? Nah, because I need help sometimes in life. So we're all the same, innit? I got you guys.
Great message, yeah. And like, do you ever take on board because one thing that is interesting about you, I think, is that there seems to be, when we met you before as well, like, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you don't feel any guilt for the crime, do you? Or do you?
The situation's mad, like I said to you. For a human life alone, it's such a blessing, a life. You understand what I'm saying to you? So I have respect for human life. It's a bad thing. I feel guilty. What a waste of life, man. What a waste of life. That's sad, man. Why can't you just be a normal person, a good guy, man? You know what I mean? Like, what a waste, man. Like, you should have gave your body to somebody else or something. You know what I mean? If you could do a body transfer, give it to somebody else, man. You know what I mean? Why? Come on, man. Somebody else could have, you know what I mean, used that vessel, so to speak. You know what I mean? To do something good and positive with it. You know what I mean? And people got this vessel once, one opportunity you got to live, and you're doing all them fucking nasty, wicked, evil things with it, man. What a waste of life, man. That's what I feel guilty for, the waste of life. You know what I'm saying? What I don't feel guilty for is defending and doing the right thing. You know what I mean? What comes natural to us as humans to protect. Yeah? I can't feel guilty for that. For a natural, you know what I mean? Wanting to care for and protect, you know what I mean? And be a deterrent.
So do you feel regret, as in if you could go back in time to that point and live your life again, would you take the same path or would you change?
No, I'd change, man. Wow, that's a big thing. If I can go back to that night and I knew what was going to happen, foresee it sort of thing, I don't know, maybe obviously I wouldn't, be hitting the guy around the head area because maybe you got a lot to answer for. You know what I mean? Like, you're not supposed to just dip out of this so easy. You got a lot to answer for, man. And maybe you got a lot to answer for other women and rare. You know what I mean? Like, people get pulled up about their thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have missed out on so much of my fucking life, bruv. You know what I mean? Could have done so much more. You know what I mean? Yeah. And being in a place of success. Trust me, because I think, wow, as a teenager, the energy, you know what I mean? The proactiveness, the visions and all that at that young age, such a gift, you know what I mean? The world is literally your oyster when you're in your teens still, you know what I mean? Got another 10 years until you're in your 30s. You know, another 10 years on top of that till you're in your 40s. What? The amount of stuff you could do. If you know what you could do with one day, all them years. Come on.
Fair point.
Can't be no waste man out here. I'm not, never that.
How do you feel about, obviously you lost out a big portion of your life to doing this, and now in some ways you could say, appearing on Channel 4 and different things like that, you've turned it into a profit. It's in what's happened to you. Now people have an interest in it and you're talking about it. How do you feel about that? Do you feel any strangeness, like sort of profiting from a crime, or do you just think that's the path that your life's taken?
It's just the path my life's taken. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not profiting off a crime. It's just I'm telling my story, innit? And then that's what comes with it, innit? You know what I mean? It costs time. You get me? My energy, my soul. You know what I mean? So obviously, I have to get compensated for my time, innit? And my story, you know what I mean? Imagine if, you know what I mean, you got something that's, you know what I mean, people want to hear and it's important for people to hear and share, then, you want to protect your thing, innit? And if that's what comes with it, you know what I mean, the financial sides, and that's what it is, innit? That's just society. That's just what it is. I'm just part of society, getting on with it like everybody else.
Fair enough. So what's next for you? What are we going to see from you in the future?
Music.
Okay.
Music.
Okay.
I love good music, and I can't wait to let the world hear what I've got, and more TV, more acting. Big shout out to Terry Stone. Yeah. And Lewis Raymond Taylor. Yeah. Movies, guys. You're going to see it soon. Hopefully with you guys, we're going to be doing some more stuff, in the future. And I like it. Hopefully I'll be doing my own thing, like documentaries, you know what I mean? Trying to do my own little chat show and stuff like that, and podcast or whatever it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can see it.
Cooking as well. Oh my
cooking.
God. I can't wait to show people the cooking show I've got planned for. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm going to show them how I cook in prison and then how I cook outside on the road and do a comparison. And I'm going to have people come around and have a chat at the same time. Yeah, cooking and banter.
All right. I mean, I can definitely see it, and I can definitely see the podcast side of it because you're such a good talker, such a good speaker. And it's interesting that you obviously probably as time goes on, you'll move away from that past period of your life and you'll move towards the cooking, the music, all those other things.
And some traveling as well. I still haven't left the country.
Oh, ever?
No, ever. Never left the country. Yeah, so traveling. I need to do some traveling. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing for me. So I'm going to document that as well.
Yeah.
And I'm going to share it with everyone. You know what I mean? Look, first time out the country, man. You know what I mean? As an adult, a 40-year-old who's never left the country. Wow.
Actually have a couple more questions. One of them was one thing I wanted to pick back up from when we talked to you last time at Lad Bible, which I'm interested in because you just mentioned now about someone that's close to you saying that she'd been sexually assaulted, and you directed her to take it down the correct route and channels and authority.
Yes, you did.
It's interesting because when we talked to you last time at Lad Bible, I remember you made a point of saying when the interviewer Mariana asked you about should you have taken it to the police, and you made a point of saying you can't trust the police. I think quite close to that period in time, the Wayne Couzens incident had happened. Yeah,
I think it was us actually said because T, she didn't really want to tell them. And I said, well, I can understand why. I think because now at the time there was a police officer. Do you remember that case? That police officer was convicted for raping and murdering that girl.
Wayne Couzens.
Yes. So, you know what I mean? That was what was going on at that time. You know what I mean? So I could imagine things have gone on before that. You know what I mean? Like with police doing things like that. And obviously some people just naturally don't trust the police. Do you know what I mean? But sometimes you might have to just take that chance. Like my friend did the other day and see where it goes. You know what I mean? Just initially do that first. And then if that don't go nowhere, then what can anybody say to you if you choose to do something else after? No one can't say, oh, you're out of it. Why didn't you do the right way first? And then, so yeah, man.
Imagine someone's watching this who's in a similar position to you were at 19 years old. Something's happened to a friend of theirs and they're choosing which way they're going to go with it. They're thinking, do we take it down the channels? Do we try and get some sort of revenge for ourselves? What do you want that person to know about the choice that they might make, the choice you made? What's the reality of making that decision?
You have to be prepared to give away a large chunk of your life for what you believe in at that time. And yeah, you have to live with it, and you have to be strong. And, if you're going to do it, then I don't know what other way to say. You better have the spine to see it all the way through. Because when shit hits the fan, you know what I'm saying? You can't undo it. You can't undo your movement. It's done, innit? So be sure about it before you do it. Absolutely sure. Otherwise, you're going to just beat yourself up for a long time, for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever it is, for that. And then you're just going to destroy yourself mentally, innit? So it's better you know what you're doing before you do it.
Okay, look, Ofill, this is a new thing for us. It's a new show. And we really wanted to have you back on because you're a really interesting character. You're a brilliant speaker, and we were really keen to get an update on what you've been doing since. And I'm glad to see you're doing well. So I just want to say thank you so much for your time and for telling us your story again. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Split. All right.
Handshake on that.
Yeah, nice one. All right.